What's up, Nancy? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm still eating. Eating my early dinner, late lunch. I don't
Have you adjusted to being back?
know. It's reverse culture shock.
Right?
I learned all about it in the Peace Corps.
What does that mean?
Well, it's actually a real thing, actually. When you've been in a different culture for a long period of time, you go through a whole thing when you adjust to that culture. And then when you come back, you have reverse culture shock, which is a whole nother thing, but it's not very bad at the moment. It's sort of like shocking when you haven't been in a real grocery store or driven on a real freeway or any of that.
Been surrounded by white people.
Right. Right. Judith, you got a haircut.
Right, you didn't see it before you headed out to Mexico. I did. I actually, this is long.
I like it.
Shorter. Thank you. Hey, my husband said he met you,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know our dogs have the same name, Blue.
Yeah.
And also, I formally met your partner recently. I volunteer as a crossing guard on Wednesdays, and he was talking to Shannon, and so yeah, we want to have coffee with you guys one of these days because we're very interested in the expat conversation. So,
all right.
Glad you're back, though.
That'd be fun. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Nancy. Welcome back again.
Thanks.
This will be interesting if we don't have a quorum.
Neglected to say hello, John. Hello, Shannon. Hello, Tim.
Hi, Judith.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Anybody in the audience?
We've got Danu in the audience as an attendee. I think if I promote her to talk, she could join our panel. I'm not sure what we need to do.
If she wants to, she can.
Or I can hit allow to talk, maybe. Try that.
Hi, Danu.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm just sitting in, just trying to catch up, keep abreast of what you guys are all doing.
Well, hopefully we have a quorum.
Isn't 4 a quorum? Oh, we don't have 4. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, maybe.
Hey, there we go.
Hi, Andrea.
Hey.
Now we have a quorum. No, we still don't. Yeah, we do. 4. 4 out of 7.
Yeah, so let's get it going, huh? Oh, there's TJ. Good. Done.
I'm here.
All right, guys, we'll call the meeting to order. Everybody cool with that?
Yes.
We have, the very first thing we have to do for our meeting is announce member openings and elect officers. That's supposed to be done in our first regular meeting of the year. So somehow we've been doing it in March since I think the beginning of time. And then I got an email in January, why haven't you done it? And I said, well, we don't usually do it till March. So we need to do that tonight. And I want to let you guys know, I'm going to be leaving, leaving the state. And we also have, I think now is as good a time as any, if everybody hadn't seen the email, John Stark is leaving as well. And Seth got fired. So we have some pretty crazy complications going on. I've talked to several of you independently of the board. So it really all boils down to what you guys want to do tonight. I would be willing to stay on as chair to kind of help the new person come in. I am probably leaving in July or August. We don't know. It just depends on how credentialing for Ashley. I think August would be maybe the earliest. I'm not sure. So with that said, what do you guys think?
Well,
I'm sorry. So you're moving or you're just going to be gone for a little while?
Our house is going to be sold.
Oh, okay.
We're
Okay.
leaving. We're moving to a different state.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting.
It is.
So, okay. So
We have a lot of irons, and I didn't think this was really that big of a deal until I found out we were going to be down a Parks and Rec director too. So because staff typically does, and staff really kind of runs the show for us. But we're going to be in a position where we have no staff that knows what's going on.
well,
So right now, let me say for the staff side of things, we have a park manager who's going to be starting here in the beginning of May. And aside from myself, we've fully hired our staff back up. So the department, it's been a while since it's been staffed up in this way. So from a staffing standpoint, it's the department's in good shape. The park manager would be available for, running these meetings. In the interim, we'll have Matthew Nelson as well as we'll have Matthew Nelson basically helping out with OSAC. So until the new director gets hired, those will be your two people to kind of help divide and conquer. And then there'll be Megan Weiss, of course, too. So that's our plan for the department.
who's Matthew Nelson?
He's the arborist and the interim park manager.
Okay, so he's the manager you're talking about.
Well, he's our interim park manager. We've hired a park manager that's about to begin here in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
So
okay.
Matthew will go back to being the arborist, but he's also going to be handling some of my duties since he's familiar with the department.
Can you tell us the new park manager's name?
His name is Brad Barr.
Okay,
He's got quite a bit of experience. He should be a great hire. He's spent time here within the Colorado Springs area on Pikes Peak and working in, more neighborhood kind of parks within a local metro district within Colorado Springs. And then he's also come with some great experience working up in Highlands Ranch and some other areas. So he should be a really great fit once he gets acclimated to, what our resources are in Manitou Springs to really just be able to hit the ground and run.
Do you know what kind of open space experience he's had in the past?
or
He
trails?
doesn't have as much experience with trails. He'll be going to the Pikes Peak Regional Crew Leader training. I think it's going to be very helpful for him. But more of his background is going to be in bluegrass, turf parks, those sorts of things. But he has experience working as a park ranger and some experience doing trail work.
I think maybe we should try and figure out if we want to figure out if we could set up a new chair, and then Shannon, if you'd be willing to help transition that in the next couple weeks, that would be awesome. Just because we don't see each other so often.
Or the next several months, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it depends on if anybody's willing to step up. Shannon, if you were willing to do it for the next couple of months while we figure that out as a committee.
Right, and that's what I was pitching. That's what I talked to Tim about when I asked him if he wanted to be the chair. And I talked to John and Roy and Denise, and they said that they would that would probably be a good idea, but I said it's 100% up to the board. So,
And then in the meantime, the board can decide who's interested in chair and what our slate of candidates should be.
Yeah, Shannon,
yeah, sorry.
one thing about, we don't meet very often, Andrea.
Well, I want to change that
We're
too.
gonna, that was what I was about to say, is so I think we're gonna change that and get rid of these subcommittee things because it isn't working out too well. People aren't showing up and stuff like that. And they're not showing up here partially
Right.
because of that. So anyway, I'll let Shannon talk about that.
No, I mean, that's further down the thing, but I mean, we're going to have to go back to meetings once a month. I mean, the subcommittee thing is clearly not working. I think Andrea's last subcommittee, no one showed up. So we're going to have a big discussion about that because I mean, I think, like Andrea with trails, I mean, we're going to have to step up because we have a lot going on with no, like, and Renfee and Mile High Youth Corps is the ones I'm mainly concerned about.
I think for Shannon, I think for Renfee Mile High Youth Corps, I've spoken with both, and I would feel pretty comfortable passing that on to staff in terms of coming up with some priorities over the summer. The trails projects that they'd be doing are going to be in October, so there's a lot of time to get folks kind of on board and prepared. The Renfee staff, in my experience working with them, has been really easy to identify projects and help really kind of work with them to get the materials they need and allow them to lead the project from a technical expertise. So I think you all be in good shape there.
So are you saying that neither one of them are available until October right now?
Yeah, they're both planning to work together here in October. So
Okay.
Renfee, I know we have an update for it to come here on the agenda, but Renfee's under contract for 3 weeks in October, and Mile High Youth Corps will be available for 2 weeks in October to help support them.
Okay.
So what do you guys want to do?
Well, I'll just say that I don't want to step up. I'd be as a chair. I've been chair before and I'm out of town too much, probably 5 months a year, and that's too much. So whatever I can do to help with the transition, I'll be here till probably close to the end of October. I'm happy to help with.
So Nancy, I was just gonna ask you like so you were just saying like we could, as a group, come up with, I don't know, our candidates or whatever, like what did you have in mind for that process?
Just, well, we can only meet as a meeting, or we can only talk to each other individually and kind of feel each other out who might be interested in taking that on.
Or is it just me?
Pardon?
Did everybody freeze or was that just me?
I think it must have
Just
been you.
I didn't hear what Andrea said. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just wondering what Nancy had in mind for like a process to try and come up with our thoughts. I personally am not super interested in being the chair either. I can maybe vice chair, but I will help out. But we would just want to kind of do that since we're here right now. Like if anybody's interested, speak up or be willing. Let us
Now
know.
is the time to
You
speak
be
up.
willing.
Yeah. Who else? Who are we missing? Julie. Who else?
Steve Bremner,
Cheryl. Yeah.
And Steve.
who has made some noises about wanting to do that. Yeah, I'm certainly not going to extend past my 4-year tenure, so or request to serve another year or so. Even if I did want to step up to be the chair, we just end up going through this again next year.
Well, that's not bad.
Well,
Right, 1 year would
I've
give
got
us-
some
Another
other,
year.
I got some other personal issues that get in the way of that. so.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know if I'd be the best,
May-
but I will
may
do
I-
it if no one else will.
May I speak?
Yeah, Judith.
Normally I don't, but first of all, John, thank you for your service and I congratulate you in your new role. I will be in that area this summer and so I'll be looking you up. Shannon, I think it's, we're gonna miss you terribly, but I also appreciate you letting OSAC know with enough time for us to transition to someone else. I'm gonna have tears in my eyes. I'm sorry. I think OSAC is one of the most important committees in town that really emphasizes Manitou's values. And I would wholeheartedly support Tim and or Andrea here if, or anybody that's willing to even do an interim position so that we can get ready for what is in the future. And so I think this is a great start. I mean, so I would say, let's, do some groundwork tonight and get something interim at least on board. And maybe while, John, I don't know when your last day is. Do you know when's your last day, John?
My last day is Friday. This week I'm
Oh.
in really for
Okay.
really in
Okay.
for about 2 days this week. I'm
Okay,
actively
well,
moving.
Okay,
Um,
but you have, this committee has so much talent that you can't go wrong with anybody willing to step up to the plate in the interim until a full chair is elected. So that's all I gotta say. Thanks.
Tim.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea for Shannon and I to stay in this position for another month and get the word out there to everybody that this is what's going on, and the next meeting might be pretty critical, and give people time to think about whether or not they want to step into that position or.
Well, how about this? I would entertain a motion for basically that until I resign. All kinds of crazy things could happen. I mean, nothing is done until I'm gone. So
Shannon, you spoke a little bit when we spoke about kind of what your priorities are, the things that you'd really like to see through.
I have some things, yeah, I mean, everything that we're doing, I'd like to see through. But until we have someone that everybody agrees should be the chair. But it's up to you guys, man. I'm 95.7% positive this is happening. But nothing is for sure until the wheels are up.
So I was just asking that in terms of making everybody aware of what the job is and some of that kind of stuff, but maybe everybody is aware.
Well, I mean, the big thing, the job has changed dramatically without staff. And I want to talk about that tonight too, because we literally, we had Skylar for a little bit, and I get it. He was good. He had to move on. We've had John for one meeting. We need to figure this out. And I think personally that this needs to be thrown back in the planning department instead of Parks and Rec, because they seem to be the most stable. But that's an opinion. But when we had planning, we always had a staff member present, and we always knew someone would be there, whether it was Michelle or Dylan or Karen. And planning has a lot more to do with us than Parks and Rec, really. I mean, as far as buying land and procuring easements, I think we need to have a shift back, but that's a conversation I want to have further on in the agenda too. So when you ask about what the job entails, I don't even know right now, because
But you set the
never gotten-
agendas and
What?
you write the agendas for the meetings.
right, and
prepare
coordinate
the
with staff
packets. Yeah.
is a big
And you
one.
work
but
with, well, staff would have someone here. I mean, it's like once, if John's not able, once he's out, like there will be someone
Yeah.
that is gonna run the meetings, right?
Right, but since we've had Parks and Rec, even Skylar, everything that the chair had to do as far as getting an appraisal or getting an easement or talking about a landowner, they had to take that to planning anyway. So I really think that we might need to get back on that. And I have a meeting with Denise this week about to take what you
Yeah, I
guys
mean, I
think
would say
about
as far as trails go, it's been much better with it being under Parks and Rec, but
that. Right.
obviously if Parks and Rec doesn't exist, then that's a thing. But sorry, let's talk about this later in the.
Yeah.
Yep. And as far as running the meeting, I just want to be clear, the chair runs the meeting. The Parks and Rec rep is there to represent what's going on in Parks and Rec, but the agenda is set by the chairman or woman, and that person runs the meeting. But we want someone from staff on too. Okay, done. Move on. If you want to.
Yeah. What do you guys want to do?
I would suggest, okay, you want a motion.
We
Yeah.
need a motion.
Can we,
I will be here through July.
okay. This is April, May, June, through July. You think?
I know that for a fact.
Okay. Well. Then I would move. Shannon maintains chairmanship of OSAC. Till we receive his resignation letter in June. Saying he'll be here for one more meeting. Yeah, and well, I won't ask about the rest, but
And Tim is vice.
So we need to do all of the,
we can do them separately or all together.
Well,
Okay,
we've only had two
but-
because nobody wants to be, I think the other one is like secretary. And we kind of we have a paid position for that.
right. So we don't need one.
well,
Okay.
to do the minutes, yeah.
So I would move. Shannon maintains chairmanship of OSAC
Until my resignation.
through, well, you said July, through July of 2023. And Tim as vice chair, and that's the slate for the remainder of his term. Which will be till this time next year, Tim?
Yeah, sometime in April, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it will be till the next election of officers, which the city clerk has said that needs to happen in January.
Okay, I think
I
his,
don't know what changed or whatnot, but that's our new rule.
Oh, so we'll be re-electing people in January now?
Yes, every January.
Well, that's only, what, 5 months after you leave?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what everybody wants to do. Maybe at that point, I can take that position, to take the chairman position if anybody wants me to. I don't know, until the end of my term.
So
We'll see after that. We'll see. But as vice chair, I'll be happy to stay on.
So is there a second,
A second.
Judy, and then everybody in favor, raise your hand. All right,
Okay.
that's done. Let's move on. I promise you guys, I will keep you abreast of what is going on. And Andrea, if you want to get together and kind of, because honestly, I think you would be an incredible chairperson. Probably like the most squared away chair there's ever been. So if you want to just go over some things and kind of get dialed in, I'd be happy anytime you want to kind of give you little tips and tricks and introduce you to people that you might not know, but you probably know them anyway. So let's move on. You guys cool with that?
Yeah.
All right. B, agenda review. I need to add something. I tried to add it with Alicia, and I want to add this in to number 6, an old business, and it will be discussion of the Martin property. and we'll discuss that when we get to it. Everybody will know what it is when we get to there. Does anybody else have anything they want to add or subtract? Nope. All righty. Approval of the minutes. Open Space Management Subcommittee meeting. Tim, do you have any comments on that? I read them. I thought they looked pretty good.
No, not really. That's fine.
No comments?
No comment. I'm gonna pretty much be going over that under the subcommittee meeting, just to bring everybody up to speed on where we're at, what we're carrying over into the general meeting.
Okay. Can we get a motion to approve those minutes?
I move to approve the meeting, minutes of the subcommittee, the management subcommittee meeting.
I think the only person else that was there was Judy and Robin. So one of you guys want to second that?
I'll second.
And all those in favor? Passes unanimously, the people that were there. Number 2 is OSAC's regular meeting from January, the minutes. Anybody have any questions or comments on those minutes? Anybody want to give us a motion to approve them?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of January.
Second.
Second.
Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Looks unanimous to me. OSAC special meeting, if you guys will remember, that was a meeting we had called really quickly to approve the grant application for the money for Creek Walk.
Mhm.
Does anybody have any questions or comments on that? Nope. Can I get a motion for that one?
So moved.
All those in favor? That passes. The Trail Subcommittee for February. I heard that was a doozy.
It was.
Are there even minutes?
There are minutes.
Yeah.
It looks good. I will say it lists present and then under absent. I mean, I'm trying to remember who else is on the.
Can you just say
committee.
everyone?
Yeah, I mean, my thought is that I thought it was just TJ and Cheryl that were the only other two in the subcommittee, but so I don't know if we need to change that.
I think Nancy is in that.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, you are, okay.
I
Yeah.
think Jeff is in that.
Jeff, okay. All right, so
And I
then,
think Steve is in that too.
yeah,
Mhm.
yes, that's right. So, oh, what is the best way to get messages to the woman who does the minutes? John, do you know?
Alicia. I
Alicia?
would email
Okay.
Alicia.
Okay,
Yeah, I can share her email address with you too, Andrea.
okay.
And is Alicia on this live? When
No.
we're going through this, she just sees the, the video.
Well, Alicia doesn't do the minutes. It's
No,
another
no,
person.
but Alicia can,
Oh, okay,
Alicia
sorry.
coordinates it all.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
email her and just ask her to fix those things, but if we need to, do we want to have that listed on all of our minutes, like who's present and who's absent? Was that a yes?
I
Okay.
think, yeah.
I don't really care personally, but
Well, I'm
think we
curious
have
if
to.
number 4, if we even need minutes for that, because you guys didn't have anywhere, like you didn't even have a committee, right?
well, I mean, we're supposed to have minutes because it's because it's like a published meeting, but we can't vote on anything. So I guess I could use some clarification on.
Yeah,
when we need
well,
minutes,
it's
when we don't.
over now, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
You
yeah,
guys basically just chit chatted.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
just in answer
I
to
mean, I have a report, but yeah.
Andrea's question, we do have to report who's present and who's absent because our bylaws, they're not bylaws,
Okay.
are
2 in a row.
Mhm.
require that that people, if they miss 3 meetings without excuse.
Mhm. Well, yeah, and what qualifies an excuse? Just emailing someone beforehand or,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
That's real vague.
I've got to step out for a second,
Okay, Tim.
meet with somebody.
Hey, Tim, real quick, did you have anything? Oh, no, never mind. We already did that one. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
So I move to approve the minutes, what are they called? Trail
Yeah.
Subcommittee minutes, with, the amendments of adding some of the people who weren't there to it. And I will.
Okay,
email
anybody
about it.
second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Alrighty, and number 5, the OSAC Open Space Management Subcommittee of March 27th. I was at the meeting, the minutes look good. I will make a motion to approve that. If anybody wants a second.
I'll second.
Right, all those in favor? Raise your
Aye.
hand. And all the minutes have been approved. Does
Whew.
anybody in the public have a comment on non-agenda items? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Gone.
Nope. The reports, Parks and Rec Advisory Board update. Danu, do you want to give us an update? Typically, we just read your minutes. I'm gonna say that's a no.
Yeah, just read the minutes. You guys are doing
Okay.
well. Good.
Cool. So that takes us to, does anybody have any questions or comments on Parab since we have Danu here? Nope. Parks and Rec Department. John, this probably should have gone first. So you could share your big news with us.
So my big news is, if you haven't already heard, I took another Park and Rec Director position with the city of South Lake Tahoe. So for me, really, it's just an amazing opportunity to move closer to my family and continue just professional development. I've really enjoyed my time working at Manitou. I know it's really short, but I do think while I was here, we were able to kind of stabilize things again in terms of getting staff back on board and starting to kick projects back off, carrying them forward again. So I really enjoyed my time, and I have nothing but great things to say about my experience here at Manitou. Sorry about leaving you all in this place of trying to search for a new director, but I'm hopeful that when you have somebody on board, it'll be in a better place than where I picked it off when I started.
Thank you, John. We do appreciate. Yeah. Mhm.
Thanks.
Do you have anything else you want to update us on with the department as a whole?
We, as I mentioned, hired a park manager. We had a vacant position for a lead parks maintenance worker. That was Star's old position, if you knew Star. We hired a really great person in that role that's got a lot of heavy equipment experience, irrigation, all those kinds of things. He was a Navy Seabee. Seems like a really great person to bring to our team. So his name is Ziggy. He started today. Then we also have a park maintenance worker that's going to begin here at the start of May 8th. Victor Gould. He's got a lot of experience working in park maintenance, doing things like wildland firefighting, all kinds of different maintenance, conservation types of jobs. So we'll be excited to bring him on. We've hired up for seasonal hiring as well. So we'll have 2 seasonal park employees joining us. One is already on board, another will be coming in here at the end of the school year. And then we're also working towards hiring some special positions for the summer beautification program that'll be focusing really on the downtown core area with support from City Council. So that group will be a lead beautification worker. Really, they're kind of a park maintenance type of worker, and then 3 maintenance workers. So they'll all be seasonal positions. They're going to be working essentially from May through half of September. They'll be working primarily on weekends and holidays. So they'll be doing a Friday through Sunday schedule, as well as working every holiday. So we're really excited to have this extra support. They're going to provide a lot of help over those busy summer weekends. Otherwise here, the pool is staffing back up as well, with lots of hiring for busy summer programs ahead with lifeguards, and we're in pretty good shape.
I have a quick question, and I don't know if this is for you or somebody, but I was just wondering about the pool feasibility study. I was wondering, like, what kind of has come of that, and if and where I could find information on that if I needed.
So when I began, we were waiting on a soils report, and we received the soils report, and we got that back to our consultant. They've picked that back up, and they essentially have everything they need to put together a final report. And so what's due to us is basically a final report, as well as presentation to PARAB and to City Council. And that's what we're waiting on at this point.
Anybody else have questions for John? Nope. Number 3, Trails Subcommittee report and discussion. Andrea.
Okay, well, so yeah, I mean, really, it was pretty short. John and I just met and chatted about a few things. And so Nancy, I wanted to apologize to you for ever doubting you and your understanding that the Eagle Mountain Trail is not on our property at all, nor is it on Bill Kerner's stuff. It's all on COG stuff. And so that really needs to be like the avenue of pursuit if we want to continue to look into that. But also talking about trying to get a permanent easement with the COG for the portions of the Red Mountain Trail that are on their property. So we talked about that a little bit. And then we talked about the RIMFI and Mile High Youth Corps projects. And I will look into that a lot more and just figure out who we need to talk to. And I'm guessing, John, you could maybe tell me like who to, or if somebody can tell me who to chat with about that.
So the person to coordinate with RIMFI is Carl Woody. You're
Okay.
probably familiar with Carl.
Yeah, I know.
I've
Carl.
spoken to Carl, and he knows that I'm leaving. And really, Carl will be in touch with our park manager as well. So
Park manager.
the 3 of you really, it'd be an opportunity to coordinate, over the summer months to come up with what the priority list would be.
Okay. All right.
I was hoping you would say that, Andrea.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, so that's really what we had talked about. We talked, I don't know, just about the crew leader training. That is coming up if any of you guys are interested. I did it last year. I think TJ has, or I did it 2 years ago, and TJ's done it in the past too. I think it's actually full anyway, but that is a thing. And the Incline is having its 10 years legal anniversary this year, and there's a big event at the INT Center on May 11th, if anybody's interested. And I think that's all I have.
Question.
Yeah.
For Andrea. Andrea, RIMFI gave us that when we were talking about having RIMFI do the work that they did last year, they presented us with a whole prioritized list of switchbacks on Red Mountain that they thought should be done.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the first, I mean, in terms of looking for projects,
That is what we were mostly, that's what I was thinking would be a major priority. But I think, I don't know, we got to really look at it now. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I thought
they did provide like here's a proposal, of like
Right.
future work that we think should.
I thought that was a kind of a done deal, is that we just wanted them to proceed down that list.
And I believe they base their pricing and their timelines based on that Red Mountain work when they presented that agreement to us. Vaguely, knowing it could all change, but I do believe there was a little bit of like, hey, this is kind of what we're basing these numbers on. So
Okay. So hopefully we don't have to go out, walk all the trails again and figure out unless there's some changes. Okay.
And that said too, if anybody sees anything like that, they like trail projects, like we should get them out there in the open. So I don't know if we want to share those right now, but typically the way it's gone is like people can put stuff in and on through SeeClickFix, or if you want to email me, I'm happy to add it to the list. that I still have access to, which is on Google Drive, which I'm still working on.
Awesome.
Tim, yep.
Tim?
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning as far as the easements, particularly Red Mountain. I believe that expires this month.
So it was my understanding from John, I think it was you that we did ask the COG again for those easements, but do you have any idea if we've heard back?
Yeah, I think it's on our agenda here, but we can talk about it now.
Okay.
Yeah, those are both renewed. We have that worked out with the
Oh,
COG.
great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anybody have any more questions for Andrea? Nope. Thank you very much, Andrea. Open Space Management Subcommittee report and discussion.
Yeah, I don't want to beat this to death too much, but I do want to kind of go through it a little bit just so people know what we worked on and where we're going on this. And I don't know, I guess make a decision whether we want to keep going down this road. But one of the things was we decided to take a look at implementing a quote data storage architecture. And all we mean by that is where are we going to put our files? What data are we storing? How do we access that information? Stuff like that, along with and that's not a big deal. I mean, it's just a matter of getting a storage block set up with whomever, with Microsoft is what makes sense, and having access to that through a login so that only people from OSAC can get in there and play with it, and other people can't delete it, for example. Also to set up a OSAC wide schedule that OSAC people can use to schedule everything that's going on with OSAC. So we have one place we can look and see what's going on there. Yeah, and, let's see. Other things we were doing was introducing management or marketing plans for private lots that we wanted to access. And then we're going to talk about managing those acquisitions, which we never really got around to doing, which I'm not sure how much management we do on those acquisitions. What we basically do is we just react.
Hey, Tim, real quick, could you explain the marketing plan? Because that always sounds like every time you hear it, I'm like, and I don't know if other people might be thinking that too. It sounds like a bad thing. But would you explain that, what we're thinking on that, please?
Yeah. Well, let's just keep going through this. This is on page where are we at? Oh, good. I don't have the page numbers anymore. 23, page 23. I talked a little bit here about, and these are notes from the management subgroup meeting. I talked a little bit about the design and implementation of the data storage and what goes into that. Our assets, our lots, easements, improvements, and various other things associated with it. Asset groups, marketing targets, and acquisition assets in process of being acquired. And I have a couple of suggested sets of things that we need to put into that. One is we need our own Rolodex for OSAC wide, so we're not all working from a different set of group of people and phone numbers and kind of stuff. I mean, these are pretty simple things. And then probably a bibliography for those for those documents that are offsite and we don't have direct asset to search, so that we can tell what's out there very quickly as far as information goes. I'm particularly thinking of people that are just coming on board and want to go in and say, okay, what information do we have? They can do a search, and in that bibliography, we'll have keywords, and something will come up to say that there are these documents out there in other places that are important to OSAC. And here's what they say in a brief statement about what those things are what those things provide. The OSAC calendar I mentioned, and we also have the Manitou GIS if we can ever get access to it. That's a huge tool, an amazing tool. I went around and looked at a lot of these small lots, and it was a pain to pull all that information up lot by lot and find the lot numbers and where they were supposedly located and stuff like that. The GIS would do that in a second. So hopefully we can get that tool working at some point. Okay, I just got a doorbell ring and I've got to go answer that. So can I please come back to this?
Yes.
Yeah, later on. All right, thank you. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Tim. We'll put that on hold and move on.
I would like to know where this GIS program is. Why, you know, again, the turnover of employees. You know, we were told it was finished or almost finished, and then the person left. How do we find out what's happened to this thing? Because it really was cool when we saw the demonstration, but that's been months.
You know, Judy, that's a kind of the question of the hour. Do we have a new GIS person yet? Like, she was right in the middle of it. Everything was going great. We had the demonstration, and then we don't have a GIS person anymore. So
All I know is that there have been interviews for the GIS position, so Dole's actively working to get somebody in there, but I don't know if he's made a selection yet.
And Judy, so you know, I'm as frustrated as you. That's why I'm having a meeting with Denise on Wednesday, because we have to. All of the committees in Manitou need staff support, because none of us can do anything on our own, and we shouldn't be able to do anything on our own. But we need to have staff. We need to have staff support us, tell us what we need to vote on, tell us of pressing things. Right now, we're winging it. So I do not know what's going on with GIS, and I do not know when we will have that problem solved.
Okay, thanks.
So in the meantime, I would work on that Onyx and get familiar with the Gaia program, Google Maps, the assessor's office. All of those things are the same tool. GIS just puts it in a really neat little package, but I don't think we can count on that happening. So the next thing, and we'll go back to Tim's when he's free. He had a construction worker coming tonight, I do believe. Trail maintenance. I think we just want to touch on this of who is going to be coordinating that, or how is this, where are we at with this now? Because
So it will be good to figure out who staff-wise is going to maybe take that on their plate. John, did you have any thought on that?
Yep, that'll be Brad Barr. That'll be the park manager that's coming on.
Okay. Well, I will connect with Brad as soon as I can.
when does he start?
He starts here at the end of the month.
Okay.
So I had to double check. He should be in May 1st.
So,
Andrea, maybe, so what I've been doing since I've been chair is doing a Monday walk with a hike with city staff. We can only have 2 of us do it, because I don't want to post it. I don't want to make it a big thing. And what I've been doing is trying to kind of get an agenda set by, instead of a phone call or an email or a text message, actually meet somewhere on the ground with Seth, Skylar, John, and walk. So maybe we can do that immediately with this guy, and I was doing it on like Monday mornings, and doing the hike. Maybe we could do it with him, and you could join too,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
just nothing
Monday,
crazy,
yeah.
nothing hardcore.
I'm totally into that. I just don't, I mean, I have.
We'll
my-
figure out our schedule.
Cool.
And we'll
Um,
do it because now we have evenings too. We can do it in the evening as well.
Okay.
So,
So, and I have you know, the more recent version of the trail maintenance kind of project list that Seth had been working on and stuff like that. So, so I think I will certainly have a look at that. I mean, there's projects listed. It's,
Right.
you know, it's nothing out of the ordinary, but I think we do need to plan on some annual maintenance. You know, obviously they're the big projects, but we do have some other littler stuff that we want to make sure gets done. And park staff had been doing some of that, so that might be some summer stuff too.
yeah, I really liked when, you know, we had someone on staff that was walking the trails all the time and bringing and just solving some problems without us even knowing. I don't know how long it will take to get to there with this guy. So we'll have to see. We'll have to feel that out. And I think an in-person meeting to, you know, see if that's something that's right around the corner, or is that a couple years away, or, you know, maybe we can feel that out and bring an opinion back to the group. So anybody have questions about trail maintenance? No. Mile High Youth Corps, RIM fee agreement, John, I just wanted to make sure, and you answered some of these questions earlier, everything's signed, all the I's are dotted, T's crossed. And did you say we're planning on having them work with us for their 2 weeks? Or is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
RIM fee is 3 weeks. Mile High Youth Corps is 2 weeks.
And we're planning
Both-
on using them in October?
Both of them are available in October.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to know about that?
There isn't, no. I would advise that you use RIM fee for their technical expertise and have Mile High Youth Corps support RIM fee in their work. So RIM fee leads the project. Staff deliver materials to RIM fee and check in on RIM fee for any support they need. And Mile High Youth Corps helps to lead in terms of helping support RIM fee's directive.
John, do you
How
know?
early-
if Rim- Sorry, do you
Oh,
know?
go
if
ahead,
Rim-
Nancy.
Is Rimfy planning on one of those days being a volunteer day? Do you know? I
We
can't
haven't gotten
remember.
that. Yeah, we haven't gotten that far. Typically, they do have volunteer days, Nancy, as you probably
Right.
know. So, you know, I would expect that they would have some opportunities for, you know, different organizations or companies that want to join in.
Yeah.
But then also if OSAC wanted to do something like that, or if you wanted to, you know, open up volunteers to, you know, some kind of community event, I'm sure they would be open to that.
Yeah, they used volunteers on our project last year, and they used Mile High both.
Yeah.
And they seem to be happy with the way that worked. I'm just wondering, because they have 3 weeks, you know.
That's their typical model, that they, you know, leverage volunteer support from the community.
Yeah.
And then pairing them up with Mile High Youth Corps. I've done that on projects in the past too. And I think that's a great way to, you know, get some extra bang for your buck. So, yeah, I think that's a great plan for this year.
How far in advance would you say we need to get like Rimfy dialed in on exactly what we want done?
You got a lot of time. I would work with Carl over the summer months. You're going into October, you know, have something dialed in September so that our park manager can order all the materials that are needed and plan to, you know, be able to get material out on site.
Okay, so maybe we can do some site visits this summer.
Yep.
And figure out what we want to prioritize for them.
Yep.
And then go with
And,
that.
you know, I would, you know, you could jump into it right now, but I would see how things go this summer. Maybe we get some big rains. Maybe we get something where we really need that room fee support to kind of shift, right? So, you know, I think you've got some time.
Okay. That's great, man. I think that we might have just killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Unless you have anything to update on the Mile High Youth Corps.
Nope. You know, I coordinated everything with CJ, worked with her on a bunch of different projects. You'll get some great support there too. So you all should be just squared away.
Awesome. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
New business. Number 1 is OSAC meetings and the new subcommittee meeting schedules. In my opinion, but I am open to a group discussion, I do not think that this is working. I think we tried it. I think we all were cool with trying it. We tried it. I think I would like to kind of fail fast on this instead of, keep trying before we dig ourselves in a hole. What are you guys' thoughts?
I didn't like it from the get-go, and nothing that happened I thought was valuable.
You
Was
made it
just-
very clear that you did not like it from the get-go.
It was too stretched out. It kind of, the momentum went straight downhill because it was too disconnected. We were disconnected as a group. We didn't have these exchanges. We didn't have the information being brought in. I thought it was good that it was segmented to give focus, but I don't know that the trade-off was valuable.
Okay, now that I told you so's are out of the way.
I think, I mean, I like the idea of it, and the communication is so slow, it's like when
Right.
we have like we only see each other every 3 months.
So you guys down with going back to regular meetings the same way we used to have them?
And we could, maybe just say like, we will have, this meeting will focus on trails and blah, blah, blah. And then this meeting, like, you know what I mean? Like still kind of have, I don't know.
Do
Well,
we
I
still want the subcommittees?
Well, can I offer an alternative?
Sure.
Well, one thing I thought about was to say on one meeting date, both committees could meet. And that leaves the rest of them each quarter to be regular OSAC meetings. So the disconnect would be not the quarter.
I kind of like,
We wanted to keep the two subcommittees going. We could say, okay, this group's going to meet the same night that this group is meeting, but that leaves the other two as regular meetings. So it's not once a month, it's twice a month. Twice a month per quarter.
Well, we got to figure out staff to run the meetings.
Mhm.
and take
So I
minutes.
think we need to do I think we should probably have our Monday meetings
Period.
every fourth Monday, a regular OSAC meeting. Do we want to do, because in the past, we've had subcommittees on other days other than our Monday. Because I think we'd be really hard pressed to get 2 staff members to run 2 meetings on a Monday.
Oh, I see. Sorry, forgot that. A little detail.
So, Tim,
Yeah, I'd like to see us just go back to our regular meetings. I know there's some concern that we spent too much time on details and whatever, but I miss knowing what's going on with trails. That's a huge deal.
yeah, no, I agree.
We pretty much could get rid of the management subcommittee because we do that as a part and parcel of everything else anyway. So I don't
And
think.
you know what? I think that we had I think the management committee was technically a land acquisition committee, and we tried to cram it all into one.
Yeah, and
So, I mean, could
I
we go back?
I think we came up.
trails
I think we
subcommittee?
came up with some good ideas, just so that we can organize our data and everything and have it out there in a controlled environment. But this stuff isn't brain surgery, and once we do that, you don't need to keep talking about how we're going to do that.
No, I do believe that a land acquisition subcommittee would behoove us to have. That could meet when needed, when necessary, once a quarter, whatever. Or you guys want to do that all? I mean, what do you guys think?
I think the trouble with that, Shannon, is that we don't know when we're going to need a land acquisition subcommittee or whatever. We react to that as these opportunities come up. just like we're gonna talk about some things that came up
Right.
later on here, so.
So are you
Judy-
saying we don't need any subcommittees?
Yeah, I'm saying that we don't need to do the subcommittees. That's what we need to do is do the work in the meeting and
All together.
be efficient about it.
You-
Yeah.
I like that.
You still have to have the whole group together to talk about it. So maybe it doesn't really, isn't.
And
Right.
whoever is doing the agenda, I like Andrea's idea about kind of focusing on one or the other, and it can be depending on if something comes up in land acquisition, obviously that's going to be a focus.
Yeah,
But to be light on one and heavier on the other, rather than each committee feeling like they have to go in depth about everything that happened at their meeting and all
That's
that.
real seasonal too. I mean, there's definitely a trail maintenance season. So
Right. So, but yeah,
let's scrap them then.
the committees could all be ad hoc, what we call ad hoc. So they're just formed as needed. A land acquisition deal comes up, the president or the chair says who'd like to be involved in this ad hoc committee on acquiring this piece of property, and
Sure.
anybody who wants to jump on can jump on.
Right.
Okay.
And honestly, you don't really even have a committee for that. That's something that the whole group would need to vote on anyway, and then it
That's
gets
what I was
turned over to
saying, yeah.
staff. So
Yeah. But if you want people to meet with the property owners or whoever, right? So sounds like we're back to everybody at every meeting.
right.
Once a month.
And we
Yeah,
can,
what-
as we know, we can change this at our will. So meeting once a month. TJ, bring snacks.
Starting to get
Um,
cranky.
Any questions or comments on that?
Are we gonna continue to meet on Zoom?
It sounds like staff wants it that way.
Okay,
What do you guys want to do? We can do whatever we want to do. What do you guys want to do?
I'm sorry, what was that, Judy? Are we gonna?
I was asking if we were gonna continue meeting on Zoom.
Can you do what? I can't hear you either.
Continue meeting on Zoom or have meetings in person.
Oh,
It's a good question. It's
How
awfully
about, how
convenient.
about a straw poll? Who wants Zoom? All those in favor of Zoom, raise your hand.
Yeah, I think it works out okay.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm kind of wishy-washy. on it, so.
I
I-
do think
the only
it'd be good every
caveat-
once in a while to see each other in person, but
I
maybe
do too.
every third one if, or whatever works for staff or
Yeah.
people,
Yeah, and I
Interest-
tried to do that at our last meeting and it went over something's going on, City Hall, they're doing, it's totally different because the idea when Skylar and I were talking about doing these meetings like this, it was to always have Monday held and we would always have that space. Well, apparently that space is no longer ours. So now it's a big deal. Like they have to do like in-services with staff to even let us be in that room. So the days of the casual meeting are long gone. And they are not holding that space for us anymore.
Shannon, the only caveat I would say is we need to meet face to face once a year for a retreat.
For the retreat, yeah, of course.
Mhm.
Yep, I agree. And I think that's easier to set up because Denise is involved and,
Maybe.
that's
Okay.
one of those. Yeah, it happens. So, all right, let's do it. Number 2, the financials. John, can you give us a quick synopsis of what Rebecca or Tim, Rebecca, Tim, and John, Rebecca's our finance director. We all met because we were confused about if we had money or not. Because we've been putting out a lot of money. So we wanted to get kind of a budgets for idiots guide to our financials. And the bottom line is we are sitting really, really pretty. Do you have the pull up of that with the actual numbers?
I don't, Shannon. I'm sorry. I'm not prepared for that.
Well, it's at the end of the briefing,
Yeah.
the end of the packet.
Whoop. Hold on. Yeah, I think everybody can pull that up at the end of the thing.
Yeah, it takes a little while to figure it out.
It takes a little while to figure it out, but the very bottom line to the whole thing,
We should share our screen if we're talking about something that we can show for the
I
recording.
think it's page 39. Well, it's 39,
39 is the back page, the last page.
30, it starts on 37.
Yeah. And at the bottom of that, it says anticipated in ending
And
2023
The
fund
very
balance.
bottom, really the only thing we need to know as a committee is the cash balance
Yes,
as of March
cash.
31st is $504,000, 622 and 13 cents dollars.
Which means we can have the retreat in Aruba.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, keep in mind, we've got a chunk of change going to Renfrey and Mile High. 20,000,
Right.
Yeah, 20, and then
20,000.
there's 100,000 that's gonna go to Creek Walk, the
Yep.
current section that they're working on, and then there was also the
50,000 cash match
50,000
grant.
for the, say again, Nancy?
for the grant, the planning grant for the west end of
Yeah.
Creek Walk.
The Hiawatha or Higginbotham Flats connected. Yeah,
Yeah.
50,000. Okay.
So we don't know yet, but yes.
Right.
Sure.
Are
What
there
I'm
any other
doing.
big chunkers that we approved that I'm forgetting about?
Creek Walk is the big one. No, but there's really not much else. I
Creek
don't know what I
Walk,
got going on with
Renfrey,
my Zoom.
Mile
Sorry.
High. So that's Mile High and Renfrey are a total of about 38,000.
So we have a good cash balance.
Yes.
Is the bottom line. When we were looking at financials, it had us in the red. But that was just because things hadn't caught up. And I needed that explained to me, like, how does this even work? And Becca said that really of all the committees, we are usually the one that has the most money and we don't have to worry too much about our money ever. So
As long as we take good care of it and we can pass the next renewal with the voters.
and the next one coming up, this is something you guys are going to have to keep in mind. The next one is coming up in 2030. I think it was 2031 or 2. But Becca said we need to probably start thinking about a voter referendum in the next couple years. She says she likes to do it like 5 years in advance, just in case something happens and it doesn't pass. They can put something together and come back the next year. So just keep that in the back of your minds in the next couple years. We need to go to the voters and ask for that open space tax again. So nothing urgent now, but it's gonna come up soon. So anybody have questions about the money? Nope. Old business, Creek Walk update. Talked to Dole. Phase 3 started today. The trail is closed. He anticipates it taking about 12 weeks, maybe a little bit less. And they're only going to be taking from us about 10 grand at the most. So 90 grand of the 100 grand we offered them is ours to keep. So that's good. That's really good news. But he already was talking about phase 4 and 5. He's probably going to start talking about that to us in early June, with hoping to break ground on phase 4 and 5 in November. He said we could just roll over that 100 grand into phase 4 and 5. And I said, no. We voted for that to be specific to phase 3. So any new ask, he has to come back to us. So just remember that because it's really easy once that pocketbook is open for them to just keep taking it. So that correction was made, but anticipate some kind of ask this summer for 4 and 5. He said it's fully funded, but so is phase 3. They do have an extra $400,000 that they just got from a TAP grant that he says he's probably not even going to use. He's going to try and get that to roll over to phase 4 and 5 too. Anybody have questions about Creek Walk? I answer them as good as I can.
Just, I think at some point, I don't know, Shannon, you were gonna suggest a Creek Walk Trail Committee to did anything happen with that?
Not that I've heard. Judith, do you know anything about that?
I'm glad you asked. First of all, I think a Creek Walk Trail Committee is necessary. What happened with the Phase 3 Creek Walk was that project wasn't even walked. So the mayor and I and Denise walked the project, and the contractor wanted to take out 15 trees. We walked the project and realized that at a cost of 1,000 per tree. And we walked the project and realized that at that time, no trees needed to come out. And the bridge didn't need to be replaced, that iconic bridge behind the chamber. And had we not done that, we would have relied on the contractor's expertise, and to the tune of a lot of money. And so I think that it's really, really critical that we revise the committee, so we have community eyes on the project at all times and moving forward, and that we keep people on their toes. This was a kind of a
Wake-up call. Yeah. Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Your audio is gone.
Say it louder.
Like when you're in Mexico, all the Texans scream in English.
You got your microphone maybe? No.
Right.
Mike,
Just
Hey,
to
Judith.
continue that conversation, I know what Judy's saying. And I don't know whose responsibility it is to form that committee. I think,
That's my question too. Like, what would be the
I
best
went to
way
council
Yeah.
and told them.
I
that
can
that
tell
was
you
part of
in
our
the
motion.
past, it was formed by it, and it was made up of people from the city, people from OSAC, and people now, like, for example, Dole, our city engineer, would be on it. So I will talk to Dole about reforming the committee, because he has a good idea that who was on the committee the first time. And we can start there and add to that. So that was one thing that I wanted to follow up on. The other thing is there's a lot of rumors in the community about paving the Creek Walk Trail and all that kind of thing. I think it's going to be incumbent on us to know what the plan is. Right now there is no plan to pave the Creek Walk Trail where it follows the river between the Chamber and, let's say, Chase Bank, or Chamber and Hiawatha Gardens. There's no plan to pave that at all. The plan right now calls for undergrounding the utilities on the street and widening the sidewalk there to 10 feet. That is phases 4 and 5. So I think it behooves all of us to tamp down this rumor that they're gonna put concrete along the creek down where we're all talking about. That's not gonna happen. That will not be paved. Personally, I'd like to be able to, now that we own the Chase Bank property, to be able to bring it along the creek all the way to Hiawatha and then to the bridge. But anyway, that remains to be seen. Anyway, you can tamp down that rumor. That's not going to happen. But what hopefully is going to happen is the undergrounding of all the utilities along Manitou Avenue there. It will involve, I think, maybe 1 or 2 trees that would have to be removed, but the sidewalk would be widened to 10 feet so that people can roll on a bike, in a wheelchair, with a stroller, whatever. And it would be a huge improvement along there if you ever walk on that sidewalk.
It's pretty narrow.
Yeah.
It's chopped up by the poles. It's kind of weird.
Right.
So Nancy, will
It's narrower.
you'll ask about the committee?
Yeah, I'll get with Dole.
Okay. Anybody else have questions or comments about Creek Walk?
No, Nancy, I would love to be on that committee if that goes.
Okay, anybody else?
TJ's raising his finger.
TJ and Judith.
Any idea about how long phase 3 will take, the construction?
12 weeks
12 weeks. Okay.
at the max. He anticipates it being done earlier than that. But the trail will be closed the whole time.
That
And-
section of trail, right?
That section of trail. It's closed as we speak.
Okay.
So
Right for summer. Boo-hoo.
yeah, so I think that's pretty good. So any other questions, comments? Judith texted that her audio is not working and the bank has some issues, but she's sure it will go through. And the dirt social trail along the creek will remain.
Yay.
So let's move to number 2, West Side LLC and Colorado Springs Parks update. If you guys will recall, this is the property that connects Black Canyon that has been so weird for us. John, last time we spoke, you had a connection with Dirk. Is it Dirk?
No. So
Dave.
Yep, that's right. David Diedemeyer.
Dirk Diedemeyer would be
over
pretty
in-
cool.
It would be. David Diedemeyer in Colorado Springs. I met with him. Gosh, that was a while ago. Back in start of February.
Yeah.
He basically confirmed, what you've updated us with, Shannon, that it was, the property was offered as a donation back in 2021, I believe. And it really just kind of fell off their radar in terms of priorities. So he said that was something that, they would still be interested in. And that they would be, like more than likely interested in providing Manitou with an easement and to work with Manitou for access. So that's really where we left the conversation off. But a good contact for you going forward would be David Diedemeyer. TJ should know David from his work in Colorado Springs. So I'm happy
He's
to
the
share
guy
the
I talked
contact.
to.
But
Did he give any idea? Like, will it be back on their priority? Like, it's just gone? Like, we don't.
I thought that it was like something that the city of Colorado Springs was going to vote on at the end of the year, and it was on their list, and then it wasn't, and they never voted on it. So
Right. And that's.
I don't know how do you get it back on their list? I'm not sure.
I don't have an indication that it's something that's, forthcoming right now. I think that maybe a good step would be to reach out to him again to, just to continue to check in and see where that's at.
So I'll just call him like once a month.
You could.
And
So
then
is
when I leave-
the situation that Westside LLC wants to donate the property to Colorado Springs, but Colorado Springs is not responding?
Nancy, this is politics 101. This is rich people getting their way. And since I'm on the way out, I will say that there are developers that don't want Manitou to have they don't want anybody to have access up there, and
Uh-huh.
they have essentially blocked it. So
They live
Blocked
in
it.
Cedar
They've
Rapids.
gone to Colorado Springs and just said, don't accept it.
Don't
Steve
put on
Schuck
the
was
agenda.
going to give it to us,
Right.
and then he said, "Whoa! We're not giving it to Manitou. We're giving it to Colorado Springs because they have a little more control in Colorado Springs than they do of Manitou." So
Well,
it's not up. It's
maybe
not.
they'd like to change since Colorado Springs is dragging their feet, maybe they would consider giving it to
Oh, they
us.
don't want to.
Steve Schuck is one of the
No.
ones that doesn't
Want to give it to us.
is being told not to give it to us. I get this only from our House District 18 rep. So
Mark.
I don't have any more information other than meeting with David, and I do think he's an appropriate contact over in Colorado Springs to continue to reach out to. So he's aware, we've met back in February, like I said. So
everybody knows, and Andrew, you might be able to shed some light with your relationship with Corey. What happened to the quarry? That kind of met a similar fate. It was all a go, we're doing this, and now all of a sudden it's like, I don't know when we're going to do it.
I actually don't know a ton about this quarry. I know more about the the one over by Blodgett Peak, but yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's as far as I know, it's just still waiting on like master plan process.
There was a moment when this quarry was almost done. Like, hey, we're going to open this up. It's a done deal. And then it just went away to the point of, I don't know that they're even working on the master plan for it anymore. So
I'll poke around.
yeah, that is that is Cedar Heights speaking and being heard. So
NIMBY.
very much so. So anyway, that's our update. I'll stay on that, and anybody else that knows Dave, feel free to call him up and ask him what's going on with that. If you know any city council members in Colorado Springs, hit them up, ask them what's going on with that.
It might change if the mayoral election comes out against Williams, because he is definitely in the pockets of developers.
Yeah, I'm not going to
Good
count
guy.
on
He
El
doesn't
Paso
seem
County
to-
for a lot of help there, but
Mhm.
I'm becoming cynical.
Yeah,
So-
that-
It's time for
Anyway,
you to move.
It's time for me to go. So
Just get out of
anybody-
town.
Get out of here. Anybody have any other questions or comments about that? Nope. The Bill Bauer Park connection. My connection there, I took Tim up and John and introduced everybody to this guy, Larry Rose. I wanted everybody, and I can't do it with everybody at the same time, but I want everybody to know who he is. He's a longtime resident. As I've been updating you guys, he's interested, but he didn't know what he was going to do. He was waiting for retirement, get himself through some family drama. He's ready to come to the table now with that piece of property that connects Bill Bauer Park to our open space that's right behind Emerald Field. The next, I asked him for kind of a dollar amount, and I told him like, hey, dude, I said, first of all, it goes in front of the whole board and we don't ever pay retail. So throw out some dollars. And he said he doesn't know. He needs to talk to several people. I have a feeling he doesn't want to lowball us and then us jump on it. So I think he's more looking for something from us because this property is unbuildable. He can use it to add to some of the other lots he has over there. But it's not going to add a lot of value to anything over there. Tim and John were there, so you guys step in at any moment. What'd you guys think about this piece of property?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. They're not gonna build on any of it. If he needs square footage, I think he would already have done that if he needed square footage to be able to build on the two lots that he wants. So I don't really see the problem. I don't see the multi-$100,000 price tag that he wants for it.
Not there.
No, he's going to sell 2 lots on Mountain View.
Well, he's gonna get that for that, for sure.
Yeah, he'll be good there. So I think we left it with him. I wanted to introduce him as things go on, so I'm not the only one connected to this fella. I told him that I think that it needs to be appraised. I would like to get you guys see if there's any interest in us paying for an appraisal, as a city paying for the appraisal. And how does that even work?
Well, we could ask for an appraisal and pay it ourselves.
Would you guys be interested in doing that?
Did
I
you
would
talk to
like-
him
I'd
about
like
it?
I'd like a
Yes, I
little bit
did. I
better.
asked him. I said, I told him, I said, I don't know how this is going to play out. You give us a number, we can go and say, hey, this is what he wants. I said, I think we can get an appraisal done and tell you what we'll pay. But it's hard to, I wouldn't have the first clue to tell you how much that piece of property is worth for what we want it for, and how much do we want it. I mean, I think that connection is really cool. We've said in our priority list last year that it was right up there at number 1 or 2. So what do you guys want to do? I think the options are wait for him to give us a number, or hire an appraisal and say this is what it's worth and this is what we'll give you.
Wasn't the appraisal, or no, it wasn't an appraisal. What was it that was so expensive? Like hiring the city
Survey,
survey. Okay, so survey and appraisal are different.
right?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know how you even get an appraisal on that. It's, it's one of those things that's worth whatever people are willing to pay for it.
But if we could get like some kind of baseline number, is that what the appraisal would do? I mean, hey,
Yeah.
John, real quick, can I
I
interrupt?
have no idea how somebody would appraise that.
Can you see
Yeah.
Judith on, trying to get back on? She got dropped. She just texted me and asked to get back on. Yeah, so Tim, what do we do? I mean, how does that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would approach an appraiser and see what the price was going to be to get an appraisal. And I'd like to talk to somebody that was a land appraiser to see what in the world they do to get a number on that, because nobody's gonna buy it for development. Obviously, it's
It doesn't
undeveloped.
have any potential at all. Those big rocks on the side.
Somebody might buy it as part of their property because they want to control it, and they don't want a trail going down there or something like that. But
That's the only thing I could see. And I was over at Mark Buscarello's house the other day, and it's right below his deck. So, I mean, I
great.
could see someone being worried about that,
Yeah, well,
but I
But
don't.
it's not a trail that you're gonna take little kids on. I mean,
What's that?
well, I was gonna say, it's not like it's gonna be heavily trafficked, I wouldn't think, because it's not a very, it's steep and.
Well, right now there's a deer trail,
Yeah, but.
but we could make a trail.
Yeah,
And the idea, I think it got put high on the priority list, Shannon, because we thought it was an easy deal. But if it's not going to be an easy deal, I think we have to look at the connection. So the connection would be from the park
mhm.
down our easement to Emerald Fields.
To our open space.
yeah, right. Very important.
I think the idea was
Awesome.
it connects to a huge sidewalk that goes to a crosswalk that goes to the park.
Right, right. So
Right.
we need to look at that in terms of, where is, if we could make that connection, is it a
We
meaningful
100%
connection?
can make the connection.
Hmm?
We 100% can make the connection.
And it's important that that connection goes to other things besides the park. It goes to Creek Walk. And quite honestly, if I was a parent with a child, I would not go down the road, that super steep road down there that doesn't really have sidewalks or anything on it. It's a safer alternative to get downtown.
This
for
does
a
take,
lot of
it
those
takes you to
people.
Creek Walk.
Mhm.
It
Does.
takes you to the crosswalk right there, sidewalks. So it takes you to Creek Walk. It takes you to the Midland Trail. It takes you to Fields Park. Takes you to the skate park.
Yeah, there's a light there too, right? Takes you to the
Yeah.
skate park. Okay. Well,
So looking at
then-
that, I mean, having an appraisal would be nice to know what other people think it's worth. Having the input from the property owner of what they think it's worth to them is going to be important in making the decision, because it's going to cost money in order to do this. It's just, we have to decide if that cost is worth it. So, but we don't have those numbers yet, so we can't tell.
So Larry's a pretty cool guy. So TJ, are you saying pursue an appraisal?
It would be good to have a second opinion on what what it may be worth to someone that's not the current landowner.
Tim, do you
Yeah.
think we could do that casually with like talk to planning, see if they have anybody that maybe even like how does this work? How do we?
you could talk to a realtor, I'll tell
Yeah,
you,
that's-
because
that's
that's
what
where
I-
an appraisal comes from, is is, what are the adjacent properties selling for? What are
That's
properties
what
like?
a broker's price opinion comes from.
Well, the realtor
An
hires an
appraiser,
appraisal.
an appraisal comes from an appraiser.
Yeah,
Right,
that should be very
And
independent
an
of the
appraiser
realtor.
wants a fair amount of money to do something like that for good reason. He's got to try and figure out exactly what we're trying to figure out, how much.
How about this, Tim? Or how about this, guys? I'll connect with planning and see if they have some kind of process already in place or someone in-house that, I mean, we have an in-house surveyor.
One of the questions for Mr. Rose is that property surveyed?
Yes, it has been surveyed because it used to be part of a huge parcel. He was in business with a neighbor and they bought this huge parcel. They were going to subdivide the whole thing. They split up and someone bought the lower half and he got the upper half.
And he's built on part of it or not?
No, he lives on Palisade Circle, but he's going to sell off the 2 lots that he owns still.
And those are the 2 lots we want?
No.
No, we just want another piece. Okay.
Yeah, he's got basically 3 lots.
Uh-huh.
The long skinny one is unbuildable. His 2 lots that he's going to sell are very buildable
Uh-huh.
and worth probably a pretty good penny.
Okay.
The trouble with asking a realtor is the realtors, what you ask them is what would you list this for?
Right.
And
Right.
give us your opinion on
Exactly.
why that's.
We need to
why
tell,
that's the
but
case.
we need to find someone who tells us what it's worth, not what a realtor wants to sell it for.
Right, so we don't ask for a broker's price opinion, we're asking for an appraisal. And we have to go to an appraiser to get that done, and they want good money.
It's worth what somebody will pay for it.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna tell us, but
Yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
come up with a number, I guarantee you. But
Shoot me down if this sounds like a really bad idea, but I mean, this sounds like one of the things that would have been tackled when Michael was still chair of this, with his real estate sort of intuition on these unbuildable lots. Would it not be a bad idea to just kind of feel him out on to see where we would go from there? Because he has
That's a great idea. I'll call him tomorrow.
yeah.
I will just put it out there too. I think in terms of mobility in our community, it is pretty valuable, and I would be okay. Coming up with a number too,
I think this would be
you're
money
right.
well
We
spent.
need a starting point.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with going to an appraiser and asking them what the process would be and how much it would cost to get it appraised. So I don't
What I'm
know.
going to do first is I'm going to go to the city and ask how they do it, because I'm sure planning has a way they want it done.
Well, then it'll probably never get done, but
That's very possible. How about this? I'm going to see if there is a process that we have to follow. I don't think that I can just call an appraiser. I think it has to go through staff.
How about start with Mike? Start with Mike.
I'll call Mike. I have a meeting with Denise anyway Wednesday, so I'll just start at the top.
Mhm.
Sound good? But
Mhm.
everybody knows this guy's name is Larry Rose. He lives here. He's been here forever. He's a pretty cool guy. Once we get some numbers, we'll have him come into a meeting. We could do a site visit with him. He's a cool guy. He's amenable. I think he's going to work well, and he understands. He likes the idea of it. He's going to want a little bit of a favor, asking for just kind of like a recommendation, sign off when it goes to planning from some of his fellow neighbors, which is easy to do. So anyway, any more questions? Nope. Red Mountain, Eagle Mountain easement renewal. John, you said that's a done deal. Was
Yeah,
there any
that's a done deal.
conversation about a more permanent easement?
No, this was just to renew for another 3-year term.
Okay. So we have that. We have breathing room. Let's focus on trying to figure out what we want from that Eagle Mountain easement, if we want it, how far we want to go with it. But right now, we've stopped the bleeding and we've got 3 years. And in 3 years, we can panic again when we forget that we need to do it.
I have also had some conversations with some COG folks just about the concept of that, and they're interested, you know, I mean, who knows what that actually would mean, but there's interest in looking at the trails and the easements up there.
Who
Awesome.
have you been talking?
Ted. Oh, I don't know his last name, but he's the overall COG manager for the Broadmoor.
Is he like the new Spencer Wren?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Oh, okay, great.
Well, I think as a group, I think we need to kind of figure out in the next 3 years what we want out of that.
Yeah, obviously.
Preferably like in the next year, so then we have 2 years to negotiate. So
You know, I don't really care if we just keep doing Eagle Mountain every 3 years, but Red Mountain's another story. If
Red Mountain's a big deal.
If we lost that right away, that'd be quite a hit.
I don't know how that's never been permanent, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Maybe nobody just ever asked. Maybe it just kept renewing, and that's fine. That's, you know, it's inertia. It's very understandable.
Well, it was a longer term, and COG turned it into a 3-year. So I think that just kind of slowly happened. So anyway, we're good now. Think about that for the future. Any other questions about Eagle and Red Mountain? Nope. Number 5, 284 Crystal Park Road. This is also something I want everybody to be aware of, and who these people are. They are, you know, the staircase that comes down over Wildcat Gulch. David and Melissa Stinson, Stinson, bought that piece of property and are building a house. They had to go through the neighborhood to get permission to build a smaller house on this side of the gulch. So I met them through that, just neighborhood stuff, and threw it out there like, hey guys, someday I have a feeling you're going to get some user conflict on that straightaway, because their deck is like, you can probably high five people on the trail right there from their deck. And what I'm talking about is the trail that goes to the gulch, that goes to the steps. And I jokingly said, hey, you guys are probably going to have some conflict someday, and you're going to want to give us the piece of property give us a trail easement on the other side of the gulch, which is a gentle slope. And it's, you know, it's definitely doable. You could bike it. Matt Carpenter had a trail up that, an illegal trail, but it was very bikeable, and it omitted the staircase completely. So I told Dave, like, hey, you let us know at OSAC if that's ever a thing, if you ever want to do that. He contacted me. Oh, I don't remember what it was about, but he said, hey, you know, just to let you know, our house is there. We are close. We might want a little bit bigger backyard by somehow doing some kind of a trade. I said, I'm going to be leaving. I would like to introduce you to the people that might be able to make it happen. So we went out there. Matt Carpenter was there. John was going to be there, but got hung up by administration and Tim. And we chatted with the wife and Dave, just laying the groundwork to introduce him to the how it works, and talked about it. And they are amenable at doing this someday, maybe. The wife, and correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, Tim,
Yeah.
the wife was very concerned about what she would see from her windows, which, you know, she was talking about the bedroom window. She'd see that trail if it went back there. Matt Carpenter already had a great idea of where he wanted the trail, because he doesn't want it to encroach on his property either.
His view shed especially. Yeah.
What's that?
His view shed especially.
Yeah. So the way they left it with us is they said, we want to live here for 1 year, and then reevaluate if we're interested in doing some kind of land swap. I think the benefits to us would be getting rid of that staircase. and getting rid of it forever. Like, no more stairs. Done. We don't have to have this argument ever again. We don't have to get in pissing matches about bikers carrying their bikes or not carrying their bikes. It's just gone. So I just want to let you guys know that's where that's at. And I would love anybody who wants to be introduced to Dave and Melissa. They're a really cool couple. They've bent over backwards to build their house into the Manitou footprint. And they're building a really cool house with what they're doing. So, you have anything to add to that, Tim?
Yeah, I think that once they're set up and they're sitting out there drinking their Mai Tais, they're going to be a lot more amenable to making that trade, because they are really, really close.
Right now, they're like, we love hikers, and they got a little Southern accent. We love hikers. We give water to them, and no. And I told them this is winter time. It's getting ready to get busier. There's going to be people without dogs. There's going to be without leashes. There's going to be people that have been doing this for 40 years, and they don't care that you have your house there. There will be a conflict there at some point. I told them, but deal with it. If you like it, cool. But when you figure out that you don't want it, let us know, and we'll do something over there.
Yeah, even if everybody is really nice, they're going to meet a lot of people because they're running right up next to their house. So,
I don't really think they know how busy it's going to be. So,
is that the one where it faces the stairs? Is that the front of their house? Is that the living room, kitchen, or is that the bedrooms? I couldn't figure it out.
What's facing the stairs is living area, or no, kitchen, and then the bedrooms are upstairs,
okay.
and they face the stairs.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So Tim had said something about doing it where we have the stairs and a trail, and they shot that down pretty quickly. Like it's one or the other. And if I was them, I'd want to trade that whole thing and the stairs for a gentle slope that goes through the trees away from my view shed. So, questions, comments?
Can we think of other people that might be opposed to having a trail move over there?
Having it moved?
Mm-hmm.
Who lived there?
Matt Carpenter is concerned about it, and he said his concern is mountain bikers. And I said we would just somehow they'd have to make the trail real windy, keep speeds down. There's ways to do it. But he said that he would not support it if it became a mountain bike thing.
You could put some stairs in.
What's that?
I said you could put some stairs in.
Yeah, let's build more stairs. That would go over great. I think that would be your only opposition, Andrea. So, but this is all private property. It is 100% up to them.
It's a great solution. It's a great solution.
Yeah, it's a great solution, but we have to realize this is private property. And if they say no, no means no. We can't pull the typical, well, we really want it, or hey, we're going to make it happen, or we're going to protest your stairs in your yard. Is we have to be good neighbors. And if they say no, no means no. So anyway, but I'll be gone, so you guys can do whatever you want. But the groundwork is laid to have the stairs gone.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions, comments? Nope. Number 6, the Martin property. This is what I added. The Martin property, guys, is that little strip behind the ball fields that goes to the creek.
Oh, yeah.
Remember how we went and offered them 25 grand? And they said they did not have any intention of splitting those two properties. We got an email via the mayor like 2 weeks ago. They are interested now in splitting that piece of property. This was just a FYI, just so we know. They're interested in splitting that property, and they will sell it to us for $175,000.
That little property.
That little property.
Well, it's an acre of property, so it's not that little.
It's an acre?
It's roughly a 100 by 400 feet.
Is that after the split or before the split, Tim?
No, that's after the split. That's what's on the ballpark side of their property. So it's a chunk of land. It's certainly in the floodplain, no doubt about that. Somebody would have to be real committed to build anything.
So it can't be built on.
Huh?
I would never say never.
No, I wouldn't say it can't be built on. Actually, I talked to the flood czar down in El Paso County about this when I was looking at it. And he said it would be a real challenge, but there are rules for how people could build on that. But it would be an awkward access because you'd kind of have to go around the bridge there and figure out how to do that. So like I said, somebody would have to be really committed that they wanted something down there on the creek. And if they're out there marketing, they might find somebody. On the other hand, if we went in, if we wanted to pay, say, 50,000, that might shake them loose. Like I said before, and I don't think this is private information anymore, that both Bob and his wife Randell have got Alzheimer's, and the guy that's handling it now is their son Robert, and he wasn't very interested in talking to me before now. He might be a little bit more amenable.
Isn't that the property where they originally, when we approached them, they said they wanted to explore commercial potential and so on?
Yeah.
And apparently, so that didn't work. So maybe it's a little more negotiable.
Well, yeah, I think what they probably did was just they probably got an offer on the house and the property there. It's a nice commercial piece of property. And the people that are buying it didn't want to pay the extra 175,000 or whatever that was being tacked on across the water. I'm just guessing. So now they're out trying to sell that separately.
I think it would behoove us to figure out how, if we want it, how bad do we want it?
How much do we want for?
How much we are willing to spend.
Why
I
do we
talked-
want it?
What's that?
Why do we want it?
Well, that's I think
Creek
Why
access.
doesn't Parks want it?
parks,
Exactly, but they're going to ask us to pay for it.
Yeah.
but it's not parks, it's the school.
The school.
Oh, because they own the
field.
ball field or
The school
Okay.
is adjacent.
So here's my
Oh,
take.
adjacent to the ballpark. Yeah.
My take on it is, as a city, I think it's important because it gives us huge access to the creek. And it's a really cool park-like area. Does that make it our responsibility? I don't know. I think there's a gray area there because I think we've also always said, hey, we're team players. So if we've got the money to buy something, we should play with the team because that's a pretty cool piece of property. Yeah, Tim.
John, has anybody from Park? Have you talked to anybody from Parks about this? No.
Well, Don New's here, and I can tell you they don't have the money and they're not into land acquisition. That's kind of pulling that out of my butt. But what I did talk to was Natalie Johnson, and I talked to her with her school board hat on to see if there's any money or any interest from the school board in buying that piece of property. And she didn't really know, but she's going to put some feelers out. And then I talked to her with her city council hat on. And she said, the city council, that's a pretty important, that would be a really cool piece for the whole city. So I think we need to just figure out, would we get into partnership with any of these people and throw in some money?
Wait a minute, has anybody talked to the URA?
URA is gone, but yes, we did talk to the URA and they told us to pack sand.
They told you to what?
They are not interested
No.
at all.
No.
They said they would fund a bench.
That's.
And now they don't even have the money for that.
Yeah, yeah. They said it was undevelopable. And that's when I went to the
Oh.
flood zone.
But I mean, the URA also was not interested in being a team player to just make some park area back there. So
Well, but
that
they
did
don't
not go
have
over
any
well.
money anyway, so.
Oh.
Good point.
That train has left the station. I don't understand. I mean, isn't it? I have to go look at it again. I think I know, but isn't it if the kind of place that we'd have to keep mowed and all that?
It's pretty, no, it's creaky.
It's all dirt now.
It's wooded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
We
think
have
it's
to-
dirt from when they had construction stuff
Okay,
like parked there.
okay. Well,
Because Mr. Martin, I do believe, rented that spot to the construction workers.
uh-huh.
Yeah, he thought he had I mean, I talked to him, he wasn't quite right, but he thought he had a possible offer from them, but that didn't work out, obviously.
So anyway, we had offered money. I wanted to let you guys know that we got an email that said they basically counter offered.
Yeah, what do we want to do? We got Danu here. Do we want to throw the ball to her?
Danu, you following all that?
Kind of, sort of, but I'm gonna pass and let you guys toss the ball around amongst yourselves, okay?
Okay. I
Aw.
think
Do we, I mean, would you guys, do you think that saying like 40 or 50,000, is that
Oh,
too much? I don't know.
well,
I don't think it's, well, yeah, you know,
I
again, it's
still think it's
too
cheap.
much.
Andrea.
It's a matter of what it's worth to somebody.
well,
What it's worth to parks, what it's worth to us to keep that property in the city and part of the creek walk. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Understood.
I wish Judith was here. I think she really wanted us to go for it.
Well, so here's the thing is that every year Parab usually gets about $50,000 a year from the GoCo grant money, lottery, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so we don't have nowhere near.
That's
the
all of
amount-
your budget, right, Danu?
That is correct.
Okay.
Per year.
Yep.
And granted, it does accrue each year as how we deem to spend it. But OSAC definitely gets the bulk of the monies from the taxes and et cetera to purchase our open spaces. So you guys really have a lot more bargaining power than we do.
So,
Yeah.
I think that one question that Danu would be is if we bought it, would you maintain it?
Whoa. Well, that's a hard one to answer. That's a hard one to answer because at this point, everything is in flux with our administration and our staff people, et cetera, et cetera.
I don't think we know that anybody would maintain it, really.
Yeah,
know.
that's a hard one because, you know, I think we would all have to go back to the city council to ask them for more money to allocate to our resources to maintain our open spaces and our parks.
well, here's what we could do. We could, if we decided we were willing to spend $50,000 or whatever it was,
An offer.
we could make a contingent offer on the property, contingent upon approval, which is always contingent upon the approval by city council. And then we could work out all these details. I mean, that's how these things usually work anyway.
How about this, Tim? How about we figure out a number amongst ourselves
Yeah,
And then, because I mean, I think this is a cool property. And for the
I think
city,
it would be a very uncool
for
property to
for
let
the
someone
city,
else have.
are we gonna do beehives in there, and is it gonna be a trail and all the open space view shed? But for the city, like, this is the last part of the creek that we could own, and we
Yeah,
could lock up the whole damn creek. And I think for the city, this is a important piece. So if we could figure out how much we're willing to throw in at it, and it sounds like we're tossing around 50, could we go knock on some doors, city council and the school board, and get more money to give them a real offer? And then we have a city piece of property.
yeah, I think 50,000 would be a real offer because I don't think they're gonna get many offers from anywhere else, but I may be wrong about that.
Right. And I don't think with this important of a piece of property, I personally would not be willing to say, no one's going to buy it. It's too expensive.
Yeah,
Because we've seen people do some really crazy stuff that have money in this town recently.
good point.
So is 50,000 is not a reasonable offer, you're saying?
Not if they've got another offer, but.
It
you know,
depends, man. I mean, if you're a millionaire and want some creekside property, 50 grand is nothing.
I know, but have they had an offer? I mean, I don't know. Where are we? They're just saying that they want 100 and,
Well, I
75.
believe, Tim, that you had them kind of in a gentleman's or a handshake deal that we were first right of refusal, right?
Yeah, but I had a handshake deal with people who
Was it with the
could
son?
not necessarily make that decision.
so what are they
Okay.
asking?
175.
175, okay.
But depends on, maybe they need the cash, who knows? What, do you think it would be advisable to go to the city first and ask them if they're interested in contributing if we need more? Or is that not a good approach? And then just hold it back and see if they take the 50, you're good. If you're gonna go to the city, it seems like you should go first and find out if that's gonna be a possibility.
Or
You got a meeting on Wednesday, Shannon.
yeah, I think
Look that
we want to start calling some of our elected officials. But I think there's two ways to play it. Tim would probably know better. Do we go in with a legit offer? Is 50 grand a legit offer? Can we rustle up some more money from the city and say, hey, we'll give you 100?
Yeah, this is.
And then
one of
it's
those-
done.
One of those things, just like the Bill Bauer Park thing.
You're never going to know.
You never know until you try.
I don't want to lose our seat at the table by lowballing them again.
Good point.
Well, I will make a motion to offer 50 grand for that, if anybody wants that.
I like that motion, Andrea. Could I
Okay.
amend it by saying we'll offer 50 towards whatever, whoever, I don't even know how to say
Yeah,
it.
that's a good idea. We can offer the 50 and then go out and shop
Well, in the
that.
middle of a meeting, I'll
And
call
then
you.
I'll shop around, see if I can get anybody to add another whatever.
I'd second that motion.
Okay.
Is that
Question.
Is that crystal clear?
First question, yeah. How many linear feet of creek do you think that is part
It's
of
up
that?
500 feet.
It's a little over 400 feet.
Okay,
400, 500?
400 feet and 100 feet wide on average.
okay,
A
thank
little
you.
more than
It takes you, the cool part about it, Nancy, the only thing, like when you're riding your bike or walking down there, it takes you to the transition. You know, the transition at the end of the ballparks, it takes you where it feels different. It takes you to Chuck Murphy's fenced campground. So it would make that whole area.
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
It's all green.
It's a very clear
that.
transition to Adams Mountain Cafe and Chuck's campground on.
And they've got some
So-
beautiful mature trees and stuff.
And
like
the new sidewalk curves through there.
And
Curves
it's
into
pretty
there.
straight. It goes, I mean, it's very,
Oh, no, but it curves into there. You cross the road and then you curve onto it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep,
Okay, I'll see what I can rustle up. Natalie seemed really interested in it. I think the school might be an ally in this
I don't know why they'd be.
Like I said, I think Judy.
because
was
it's a Fields
interested in
Park
it.
is theirs.
I think Judy was interested in it, and I think I seem to remember that Nancy Fortune was interested in it too. Had an
Yeah.
interest in it. So we got some heavy hitters to go talk to.
Cool. I'll do that. And then I'll have a report for you guys the next meeting. Any other?
Wait, we haven't voted on the motion.
Oh yeah. Hey, there's a motion in a second. All those in favor? Nancy, I really think you should be the chair. All right, that passes unanimously.
You helped me.
No, I did not vote for that.
Oh, you did not? Oh, sorry. Do you want to add a comment or no?
I do not think that, especially with the opportunity that the way that the motion is worded, for the price to keep going up, I do not think that a piece of property where we only have a vague description of what has been split off is worth anywhere near that amount of money, especially for Manitou or even for OSAC to take on. I think it's irresponsible to try to acquire that, so I am not voting for it.
Okay, one naysayer.
Well, I think that's kind of a good point. You know, we certainly need to do our homework on this and find out exactly what the shape of the property is before we just, because I think TJ's right. We don't really know what the split looks like, do we?
Well, we do. We know exactly what it is. We've all
Oh.
been given, it's been in our packets before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not hard to look up.
Well, and we've had it in the packets several times in the past.
Need to go look.
So,
So anyway, the motion
Motion
doesn't say
passed.
and up. The motion is to approve as much as 50. What is the motion?
50 grand from us. However, we offer
Or
that,
city.
like we'll talk to the city and see if they might, Natalie was doing some of her due diligence. And it might turn into next month, we make a motion that says, we advise the city to buy this with their funds. Natalie was out doing some footwork on it from the city standpoint and the school standpoint, because it butts right up to their baseball fields. Yeah, Tim.
TJ, what more would you want to see before you'd be comfortable with this?
Well, I don't think that, I mean, first of all, I think that saying to go find something in previous packets, you know, if it was really up for consideration in this meeting, it should have been in this packet. First of all, but second of all, I mean, I've walked that property, looking at it. I don't see the great benefit that acquiring it gives the city. I mean, I haven't been sold on any of this. I think everybody seems really gung ho to do it, but I'm just not convinced that that's the right way to go.
Okay.
So, but that's fine. I mean, this doesn't have to be unanimous, but I mean, I have a dissenting voice on it and I just want to be on record for it.
I agree with TJ that I don't think it's worth the 175, but it does, our motion brings it to the city to further investigate. And then through that process, I think everyone will come to a price of how much we do want to spend and who wants to put in for it. But we're only willing to put in the 50.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Nope. Number H or letter H, future agendas. What do you guys want to see? Anybody want to see anything on a future agenda? Nancy?
Well, actually, if I may, I just want to just ask
course
or
you
say one more thing about West Side LLC.
Uh-huh.
That I forgot about until we started talking about more money. We did talk about the feasibility of access to that property without the West Side LLC property, with going up, having to build stairs or whatever at our access. And if I understand it right, we have every legitimate right to park along that road. The road is owned by the city and plowed by the city. So I don't know how Mr. Steve Shuck and the gang will react to having hikers park all along that road to access the property if we were to put in that trail, or would they rather have us access it through the west side property? So I don't think, we don't have any cards in the game. You know, one of the things when we talked about it the last time was, let's have Rimfee look at what it would take to access the property through our access point, through where our property that we own actually hits that road. I think we need to keep pursuing that other way to access that that Black Canyon property. It's a beautiful piece of property. It also has come out on the top of our priority list. We've done all the surveying, all this stuff. We need to follow up on that too, I think.
Nancy, how about this? That made me kind of think, what if we did like do you think we could do some kind of site visit with Carl, Woody, someone from Rimfee as a whole group, maybe on a Saturday?
They're not trail designers. Like, you want to go with trail designers, like those.
Okay.
I mean,
Who would we,
there are
like, who
other
would you-
people out there.
what's
Yeah.
that?
So Carl, like, will certainly give you input, but there's.
And I just said that
lots and
because I
lots and
don't
lots
know,
of people.
so.
Yeah, I can tell you that, like, my neighbor across the street, he, I'm just saying, like, many people would love to have that job. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Who would we have, who could we go out there as a visionary that could say,
Mhm.
that
I'd
could tap
suggest
us down
having
and say, hey, don't do that?
have a group of people, right? I don't know, maybe that's a terrible idea. I'm just saying, Rimfee.
There are no terrible ideas out here.
Yeah.
So
So,
Andrea,
I
are
can
you
come up
saying Rimfee's not the only one who could do it? Is that what you're saying?
I don't love a lot of trails that Rimfee has designed, right? And then they're getting better over the years, but I'm just saying there's a lot of trail designers out there that we could have and people
Okay.
that live here. So, however, they are maybe a non-partisan group.
Well,
That's
I'm
why-
just
Maybe
thinking they're
that
under our
would-
contract.
Mhm.
They're under contract with us for the next 3 years for 3 weeks every
They
year.
are
Not
paid
that they're-
for.
What? Yeah, they're paid for, not that they
But
know.
not for that, we are purchasing, we are paying for trail maintenance from them, but they probably
What-
would be happy to give us advice, happy to potentially have that
But for
project.
our 3
I
weeks,
personally wouldn't want to hire them for that, but
Well, we could, doesn't mean we have to hire them, but we could just get
yeah, somebody with a specialist eye on it.
Yeah. And if there's
about I
other
set
people who
something
want
up?
to look at it,
we'll figure
Yeah.
out something for early June and do like a whole group meeting out there.
Like a
yeah, and
walkthrough.
anybody
That would
who
be good
wants
for
to
all of
think
us to
about
do
the
a walkthrough.
feasibility.
Right.
Anybody who wants to give us their opinion on the feasibility of doing it, I'm willing to listen to, Doesn't have to be just Rimfee.
Totally, but I do like the idea of a nonpartisan. I don't want a special interest group telling us how to build the trail.
Well, what do you mean, like mountain bike group versus hiking or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's lots and lots of groups for sure.
Right.
Including Shanti Toll. He would love to, I'm sure.
Well, I don't think I don't know how.
I mean, he has designers that are as competent as people working for Rimfee, for sure. Maybe not Shanti himself, but yeah.
Well,
How about
anyway,
we set
let's
up
just
we need one initial meeting so we know without getting too into the minutia, if we even have ammunition to tell Steve Shuck, we're going to do this if you don't let us do that.
exactly.
We don't have to get everybody involved just yet because that's a huge process. So what do you guys want to do? And you know what? We could go out there without a professional and just all of us scramble around and say, oh my God, this is a terrible idea. Or we could say, hey, this is really not that bad. So
I think that's a great start.
let's do it with just us. And then we can figure out what we think who we want to take out there instead of arguing about who we want. Does that sound good?
So if you make it like a public meeting though, right?
Anybody can
then-
come.
Okay, I think that would be actually a really great thing because my neighbor, I mean, he corners me, Dave, like all the time. He's like, so what's going on with the trail? I think it should go here and here and here, you know? And so I'm like, I don't
Well,
know.
but I mean, we also don't, we need to get into a 12-hour meeting with someone telling us how to do something that we don't
That
know
is
if we're
good to
gonna
think
do.
about.
Right.
Yeah.
So it will be a public meeting, but I'm not flying out.
Your
I'm
neighbor
not
can
putting
show
out
up.
invitee mailers. So
So does that mean we'll set a
Let's do
date
it.
and it gets published? Is that?
we will set a date and it will get published 24 hours in advance, but I am not going to hand deliver invitees to everyone who knows how to build a trail.
Mhm.
Sound good?
I think that's a really good idea.
So we'll figure out in May, like when we want to do that. Maybe that could be our June meeting.
Mhm.
So if we hash out enough stuff by then.
Yeah, I just didn't want us,
No, that's a good idea, Nancy.
yeah.
Anybody else for a future agenda? Nope, nope. All right. Well, let's have a motion to adjourn.
So
I'll make
moved.
a motion.
Second, all those in favor?
I'm hungry.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, guys. Good work.
Thanks, Shannon.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, John. Good
Hey,
luck.
good luck, John.
Thanks,
Yep,
everybody.
Good luck.
Good luck to you all too.
Got plenty of snow out there.
Huh. That's
A
for
little bit of
sure.
snow.
Oh, great.